Harry's Wife, Part 103.11. You're just an entertainer. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Harry's wife has no sense of humour. She believes that she is a very important person. She takes herself ever so seriously, regarding herself as she sits at that table, with the unsold copies of The Bench lying on it, engaging in the Zoom calls, Harry shackled to the desk, being there principally to pass her cups of some kind of soy-based drink, as she tells the world about what a bananitarian she is, what a political operator she is, the next charitable venture that she will engage in. She believes that she is this kind, empathic individual, an angel of mercy that floats around the world by private jet, engaging in the administration of kindness and empathy wherever she goes, that where she arrives she soothes the fevered brows of those that are in suffering, that she rises up and lifts up the downtrodden, that she defends the weak. She seriously believes all of this because her brand, if I can call it, of narcissism functions to cause her to believe that that is who she is. She honestly believes that she's kind, just, righteous, helpful, and empathic. Although the evidence is to the contrary, that doesn't matter. Her narcissism shields her from that. Despite her wanting to be all of those things that I've described, she is being ridiculed and lampooned more and more. Not because there is some grand conspiracy to say, hey, let's all laugh at Harry's wife, but rather it's simply as a consequence of her own ridiculous behaviour. Not that she will ever accept that, of course. And this manifests in an opinion piece from the Sydney Morning Herald, g'day, which tells us as follows. Harry's wife thinks she's Diana, but she's just an entertainer. Dear Diary, a toxic relationship is driving me nuts. There's someone I'm keen to break up with, but she regularly pops up to suck me back into her grudges. She takes mad potshots at her husband's family, even his widowed 96-year-old Nan. She paints herself as an earth mum saint while referencing her couture quote-unquote fabulousness. She's Trump-esque with the truth, makes every conversation about herself, and she thinks that she and her husband are psychically joined as palm trees. Yep, I have a Harry's wife problem. I've had it for a while, but now it's next level, the author writes. In her days as a Suits star with a lifestyle blog, Harry's wife seemed quite cool, if California earnest. When she found her prince, it was a genuinely uplifting story. But then our strange friendship started to spiral. She switched from Amazon to victim. She wanted more airtime and money in her stupendous marriage. The in-laws who welcomed her, walked her down the aisle, became drainers, fighting her every move. Notice how the author is encapsulating the shift from the golden period, when everything is wonderful, to the devaluing behaviours that are being exhibited towards the various members of the family, those secondary sources. The opinion piece continues. So she got everything. Freedom, a mansion, gorgeous babies. She even got to claim privacy, when what she wanted most were platforms to turn her grievances into content. Hypocrisy, use of pity play. This week was a blinder for Harry's wife. Having morphed from royal to entertainer like her husband, who now specialises in cameos in his wife's life, she dropped a chart-topping podcast with Mariah Carey and starred in a 6,500-word essay in the Cut. I should point out that this opinion piece is from last month, if you hadn't worked out that already. The 25th anniversary of Princess Diana, Diana, Princess of Wales' death, duked it out for airtime with her daughter-in-law's commercial offerings. For her interview, Harry's wife chose the same single black turtleneck, minimal makeup and bold gaze Diana made famous in a 1991 Vogue cover. Mirroring character trait acquisition. Was the Duchess trolling the royals or paying homage? She was doing neither. She believes that she is Diana. Reading the story was a big-time investment. I've had shorter pregnancies. But there were rewards, if you like wondering if people are lampooning themselves. The bit where Harry's wife compared her wedding to the freeing of Nelson Mandela. The tidbit that Harry is a beatboxer. Her sharing a secret she might get back on Insta. What even? Those parts were terrific. But hanging out with Harry's wife is like the end of a day with kids. Laughter quickly turns to tears. She makes wild claims, grinds axes, makes talk of forgiveness sound threatening. And she's never wrong. When Mariah told her on the podcast, "You give us diva moments sometimes," Harry's wife, it was panic stations for the Duchess. She squirmed so much that she revisited the slight in a monologue in the last 4 minutes. See parts passing for the analysis of that. My mind was spinning with what nonsense must have read. Does she not actually see me? She jumped right in to make sure I was crystal clear that when she said diva, she was talking about the way I dress, the posture. Gold. Or dross. Therein lies the issue with Harry's wife. Our every interaction throws up a ton of questions. Why is a champion of victimhood so mesmerizing? Why is her podcast about negative labels attached to women rather than the countless brilliant things we do every day? Why does someone so rich and famous think whinging about her life is a power move? Well, I'll answer those questions for the author. Why is a champion of victimhood so mesmerizing? Simply, so many people are left scratching their heads, wondering, is she for real? Does she not see herself? How can somebody behave this way? Of course, all of those of you that regularly access my material are better educated in that regard, and you know that the mesmerizing factor of it is quite simply watching a slow-motion train wreck. Why is a podcast about negative labels attached to women rather than the countless brilliant things we do every day? Well, that is quite simply, as you know, that it's not about championing women. It's not really about addressing the negative labels on behalf of other women, although she thinks that it is, but rather it's Harry's wife's personal list of every name that she's been called as she chalks off those grievances. It is a nullification of those threats to control. Why does someone so rich and famous think whinging about her life is a power move? Because her narcissism makes her believe so. She is the eternal victim, and she thinks it is only right and proper to speak out. She doesn't see it as whinging, but rather finding her voice, speaking her truth, being an advocate. The opinion piece by Kate Halfpenny continues, will she ever find something else to talk about? No, it'll always be about herself. And what is her end game? She doesn't have one. It is perpetual. It is the pursuit of the prime aims, which never ends. Right about now, Buckingham Palace might want to rethink its softly Sussex strategy. Recollections may vary. It was a masterstroke in killer lions, but refusal to engage isn't working. The Windsors had their problems with Diana, but what Harry's wife has brought to their door is different. She seems to believe she's the Princess Reborn, a warrior soul, taking up the Diana baton to fight for her identity against the anachronistic institution of royalty. But Harry's wife is merely an entertainer. Diana was much beloved, and to the very end, an ardent monarchist. The throne is her son William's destiny. She wanted that protected at all costs. I wonder how she would have felt about Harry's wife's moves to use royalty to build her brand while trashing it at the same time. Accurate observations about Harry's wife, and were she to come across that and deem that she was not Diana, and that she is simply an entertainer, that would not sit well with her, because it flies in the face of the construct that her narcissism has generated. Even now, 4 or 5 weeks after that has been written, that she's reinventing herself as fluffy, silly, fun Harry's wife, she doesn't see herself as there to entertain. She sees herself as a very serious individual, and if you don't accept that, then that makes you an idiot. Of course, She is one-dimensional. That weather vane frantically flapping in the wind, trying to face all ways at once and be all things to all people in order to secure those prime aims, and of course, as is happening more and more, achieving none of the things that she wants, because so many people now see through her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.